Good morning, everyone. Welcome to winter, or so it appears, in upstate New York. I didn't catch if there's any flurries flying in the city this morning or not, but it's a sloppy, slushy day in Buffalo. I realize everyone's traveling and running around, so appreciate the extra effort to navigate the elements to ensure we have a productive morning and can get things started here on time. So we have a full squad turnout. Pleased to welcome a full complement of board members: Dennis Trainor, B. Gonzalez, Laurie Wheelock, Louis Warren, Cecily Morris, and Michael Cusick. Justin and the team are scattered. Justin's in upstate. Want to identify where exactly, so no one comes looking for him. But Kessler's here with me in Buffalo. Adam and a skeletal crew is in White Plains. We have a limited turnout this morning. Adam, productivity is definitely going to be up this morning in the finance area. That's good to see. With that, I'm pleased to welcome everyone to this previously noticed meeting, and happy to call this session to order. Unless anyone has any amendments to the agenda, I'd ask for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. All right. As we typically do, we will convene and start an executive session. We've got a very full agenda, in addition to an update on where we stand year to date and expectations for the full year, and activity around canals and power proceeds and other initiatives. We'll spend a good amount of time reviewing our financial plan and budget for the next 4 years. But before we jump into all of that, we will spend a little bit of time in executive session. So if I could, I'd ask for a motion to conduct that session in accordance with Section 105F of the Public Officers Law.
So moved.
Thanks, Dennis. Have a second?
Second.
Louis, everybody else second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We will move to executive session. Be back in half hour, 45 minutes tops. Thank you very much. Welcome back. 37 minutes later. We split the difference between 30 and 45, so we're off to a good start. I can have a motion to resume the meeting in open session.
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you. Heard a second in there. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. As always, no votes taken during exec session. In advance of the meeting, we've all been polled regarding any conflicts or potential conflicts relative to actions that we'll be taking. Karen's been advised if there's any late-breaking changes or developments, please ensure Karen is so notified. As I said, our focus today, beyond our regular financial update and look ahead for the full year. We don't have to look too far since we're already to the middle of November. So Adam and team, the crystal ball is clarifying all the more as to what we can expect come end of year. And we're now at the point where we're looking to next year and beyond. So we will spend a good chunk of our time reviewing the plan going forward, in addition to taking some actions. That said, to start us off with his Chief Financial Officer's report is our Chief Financial Officer, Adam Barsky. The podium is yours.
Great, thank you. Good morning, Chairman, trustees, NYPA colleagues, members of the public who are participating. So first we'll give an update on how we're doing through September. Given the timing of the meeting, we didn't have enough time to put in the October results. which would not really change anything meaningfully here. It was a pretty flat month, but through September, we continue to run ahead of target by over $100 million. As we've spoken, some of that is recurring revenue that had firmed up during the year that we will see flow out through the future in our financial plan as we talk about it later this morning. Some of it is more non-recurring one-time that will not, we'll see in the future. And some of it is related to things like interest income, where the interest rates are going, other things that will probably not be as strong in the future as it is today. And I'll put it also just to put into perspective of, well, we're $100 million over our target, but again, in context, when you consider that we have over $3.5 billion of revenue, a 3% swing in either way, which is considered immaterial, is $100 million. So it seems like a lot on the net income of the financial plan, but in the context of the amount of revenues we have, small changes result in a big number. With that, I'll go to the next slide on the full year forecast. Full year forecast is our expected case. We have a high-low expected case, 289 million. Again, more of the same. Increase in the generation margins based on really some of it has to do with both price. Energy prices have been higher, and we had obviously weather events of both summer being warmer than normal, winter being colder than normal, resulted particularly with our peaking units being called on more often to run more, and they generated additional revenue. And the other big, I would say, outlier, if you will, is BG, which had a terrific year, probably significantly greater than they've ever done. And some of that has to do with what we spoke about in previous meetings of less imports from other areas, whether it be Canada or the PJM market, creating a lack of supply and increasing demand for assets, whether it be our peaking units or the BG facility. If there are no other questions on this, we would then move on, but I'll pause for any questions. Okay, there being none, just to update on the canals as well, because we will be asking for releases. Canals is running basically at budget, coming very close, so without going over. So everything seems to be working there as planned and predicted. If there's any questions here?
Consistent with what we've heard. Yep.
Yep, consistent. Nothing has really changed that's of note. So now we'll move on to the preliminary proposed 4-year plan. We filed this with the state and all different places we have to required under law to file it. So it's available in various public places for public inspection, comment, questions from anywhere outside of NYPA. And we will be coming back at the full board, for final approval in December. Again, I would note that this is preliminary proposed. There may be slight adjustments that I do expect to happen, but not only to the good. So I would come back and explain any changes when we come back in December. But just giving an overview of sort of what is the goal of the financial plan. And it's really about, all the initiatives that we are undertaking to either maintain our assets or invest in our strategic plan as the 2030 renewed, is that how do we maximize the greatest amount of investments we can make while maintaining the metrics to achieve and maintain our credit rating where it is at AA+, as well as making sure that our rates remain the lowest affordable that they can be. And within those two guide rails, trying to get as much investment as we can based on the revenues and cash that we're generating. So that's really the goal of this financial plan. Let's move on. So as we said, this is sort of just laying out how we're allocating our resources to support Vision 2030 renewed. Significant investment in our hydro facilities, obviously Next Gen Niagara being the largest investment, but investment in the others as well. There will be overhauls of BG facility. There are significant work to be done at St. Lawrence with Long Sault Dam and others. And then Niagara, we're looking to finish the first phase of Next Gen Niagara with unit number 6, hopefully being completed by the end of this year or early next year, which will be a significant milestone there. As far as on the transmission side, major projects that are either going to be undertaken for future or completing the ones that have already started, mainly the Smart Path Connect, which we expect to be fully completed by 26, as well as our Propel project and Stewart Uniondale Hub, which taken together is about almost $900 million investment just on the night side, over $3 billion investment for the total project with our partner Transco. And that is, starting to come through the system. We're starting to see money spent on that, and you'll see how that's impacting the plan as we go out to 2029. Other goal, enable our customers to achieve all their energy goals. We have a strong pipeline of about $1.4 billion for energy efficiency projects with our customers, as well as the various EV charging programs we are supporting, such as the MTA bus charging facility, and help them with the electrification of their bus fleet, assisting our muni co-op customers with some of their electrification as well. So a lot of emphasis, a lot of money being allocated there. But when I say money allocated, a lot of this is really us doing the work. We front the money for the projects, and then we get paid over time by the customers when the projects are completed. And then, of course, revitalize the canals with a significant emphasis on addressing the infrastructure needs to bring that to state of good repair, addressing any high-risk issues, and doing things to be a good partner in the communities in which we are operating. Next. As we've talked about, and you'll see later on in the agenda, we're approving more contracts in this area, but workforce development is a major initiative that we're undertaking. There's going to be $140 million allocated throughout the 4-year plan towards workforce development. That, of course, includes the $25 million per year that we are doing with our MOU with the Department of Labor. And that's really under that expanded authority statute. And it's really geared only towards those types of projects that are in the enabling statute, which are renewable, solar, wind, battery storage, et cetera, geothermal, for example. And we're adding this year, given our initiative around nuclear development, an additional $10 million a year of workforce development money in the nuclear space. In all the conversations we've been having with people in the industry, obviously there are a lot of challenges ahead in developing nuclear, but one of them certainly is developing the skilled workforce that would be needed to undertake these projects. So we want to get ahead of that early and start laying the groundwork to start upskilling and retraining various workers to be able to undertake this kind of work. Steam fitters, welders, electricians, these are all going to be critical jobs in need as you develop these facilities. So we want to get ahead of that. This is an important area. We started talking about it last year, and we've made a significant improvement in this year. Historically, NYPA never had access to or utilized external funding. Back in over the last 5 years, starting from 2020, maybe we had a total of combined for all those years, $67 million of external sources of funding. Most of that was FEMA related, COVID. There was some from Puerto Rico, but that was really the extent of it. Last year, if you recall, we showed $300 million of external funding that we were planning to receive. And this year, we're updating that to now over $1 billion over the 4-year plan for external funding, which is a significant increase. And this is, allowing us to, leverage state dollars, federal dollars to enable us to take on more projects and also make projects more affordable. Really trying to maximize what we can out of the federal government from the IRA. And as you've heard about our renewables plan, really the big push now is to safe harbor projects between now and July 2026 so that we can lock in those tax credits before they expire. And then we will look at those programs that will continue post July 26 for tax credits. The big changes from last year is that the state passed the Sustainable Future Program and allocated $200 million to NYPA to assist us in our renewable efforts. So combined with the $300 million we've already invested of our own money, this will help us seed more projects and get more projects built, both on the renewable side, but also the renewables related to the REACH program. So it's going to allow us to do more in that area. The other major pieces, canals, we've received another $50 million allocation there. We're hoping that continues as an annual appropriation, and we're going to keep pressing for that. But the signs all seem positive based on comments the governor has made around the bicentennial and others, that the need for the state to work with us to help support and maintain the infrastructure of the canals. Other big piece, we've already filed for over $11 million of IRA direct pay tax credits for some of our early projects like solar at Zeltman or the North Country battery storage or our Evolve program. Additionally, we will be looking for, over the 4-year plan, investment tax credits up to $400 million, under the work we're doing under NIRED and the subsidiary. And as well, we're hoping that, and to see very soon, once unit number 6 is completed at Niagara, getting a production tax credit, which would be worth a little bit over $30 million a year over the 4 years, $120 million, but actually that $30 million will continue over the next 10 years. So it's $300 million in support of Next Gen Niagara. So all of this, and outside funding, Ralph Wilson Foundation obviously been very helpful in providing money for canals projects. We want to also expand in that area if we can, by also getting external sources of funding to support the canals. The NEVI funds that we receive is for electric vehicle charging that we're doing. We'll talk a little bit later on how we're able to use this money to ensure that charging remains low cost and affordable for the public. Any questions on that slide?
Adam, before
Okay,
you
we'll move on.
Adam, it's Louis. Before you move on, can you go back to the last slide? So just so I'm clear, and by the way, this is outstanding, excellent work by you, Justin, and your full teams here. Under category D, the Inflation Reduction Act, the big piece there is the Niagara Unit 6 production tax credit. So is that, just so I understand it, is that, I know you've applied for it, is that fully baked now in terms of that $120 million for Niagara's Unit 6?
No, it's not fully baked in the sense that we're actually receiving the money yet. First, we have to complete the project. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is we need to get an opinion from outside accounting firms, in our case, KPMG, to certify, in their opinion, that we've met all the standards for meeting this production tax credit requirement. And it's done under something called an 80-20 rule, which essentially is sort of a repowering. So if what you're replacing is more than 80% of the value of what that unit is, it's considered almost the same as building new. And this is a specific provision we were able to weave our way through to qualify for this credit. But given the extensive work, we can talk to Trish and Joe and others about the extensive information that KPMG has been gathering to get them comfortable with issuing this opinion. We've gotten there. And one of the things we'll also do is look to insure this tax credit. So we will go out to the insurance market and we'll get insurance related to the tax credit. And what that will cover us for is that if in some case there's an audit and under the audit they disallow or they don't allow us to get the full value, the insurance would cover us under that condition. So that's something that's done in the market commonly when projects are looking for tax equity funding. So we would look to insure the tax credit as well.
That's helpful. Thank you, Adam.
Next. Big picture, hydro, right, represents so much of what we do. It's talk about 80-20 rule, right? 80% of everything is, for us, is hydro. And, the moving pieces there are price and volume. So on the price side, you can see where energy prices have been going. They had that spike in 22, they came down, they're back up. Based on the Platts forecasting, we forecast it out in terms of what it's going to look like in the future. And the other important note here is on that, if you look at the yellow line, what the yellow line represents is a natural gas prices. So while there are a lot of I would call idiosyncratic issues that could come into the New York market, as we said, about supply of imports and other things that might change the market particular to New York, historically, though, there's been a very high correlation between the prices that we see in the market and the price of natural gas. So we use that as our proxy as to where we think things are going to be going for us as far as prices we will see. But the prices have been elevated and I think will remain to be there over the next several years, which, is kind of, it is what it is. In some ways it's good for night, but from a revenue standpoint, on the other hand, it's to the extent it gets passed through to customers, it's a higher cost. So that's why we try to do what we can to mitigate the impacts of that. On the other big side is really the hydro generation, water flow. And that's something we really don't have a lot of control over. If you look back over the last 5 years, there's been a significant amount that has been over the long-term historical average, which is 21.4 terawatt hours. But as we've seen in our modeling indicates that we're reverting back to the mean and we will be generating less than we have historically from a water flow standpoint. So putting those together, that is going into how we're looking at future revenues from hydro. As we move on, trying to lock in future sources of revenues to offset loss of revenues, but also in terms of providing more revenues for the authority so that we can increase our capital capacity and take on more investments to support our strategic plan. I'll call out a few initiatives this year that we are completing that will provide a steady source of revenues in the future. The first one being our transmission return on equity. We had a filing at FERC and we've asked for an increase in our rate return on equity. There's a lot of back and forth with FERC staff and others to arrive at a settlement, which we did in the last few weeks. Our return on equity will go from 9.45 to 10.25. That's including our 50 basis point RTO adder. And that will generate an additional $17 million per year indefinitely. And that will be a good help to the plan and be able to leverage those resources. And that's one component of what goes into our return on transmission. The other is our cost of debt, which is very low as being a AA plus. Our average cost of debt is around 4%. But taken together, our weighted average cost of capital is lower than anybody other utility in the state, which makes us a low cost provider. So we're at least 50 basis points or more lower than other comparators, whether it be Con Ed, Transco, others. So, one of the reasons when we win these transmission projects, we've got great development people and system planning people that come up with the most cost-effective solutions, but also the fact that we do have the lowest weighted average cost of capital always makes us the lowest cost provider and solution, and that's why we win. So if the difference between us doing a project and somebody else really means that the ratepayers save at the end of the day. We recently demonstrated at the FERC that us versus somebody else doing an additional, I would call it 500 million, would save on a Propel project, an additional save a ratepayers $100 million over the course of the project. So this is a good news for us. The hydro rate adjustment that you're familiar with that will be up for approval in December is going to generate $10 million additional per year. But even though those rates, when fully phased in, will still be less than the rate it would have been if their rates were adjusted by the rate of inflation since 2014. So they're still going to have rates that have remained below the rate of inflation since the last time they were adjusted. The production tax credit we just spoke about, $30 million per year. And you'll hear a little bit more this morning about the HTP line, where as a result of a RFP we have a selected proposer that we've entered into a non-binding term sheet to hopefully conclude as an agreement. And as a result of that, we'll generate an additional $30 million per year of guaranteed revenue subject to the line availability, plus a share of additional revenues above that. So as a baseline, the $30 million additional there. So all those things together, even on a conservative basis, $80 million, that translates into $1.2 billion of additional capital capacity to help pay for our capital plan. Speaking of the capital plan, really two components here. Up top, you see the energy efficiency. Spoke about at the top, about $1.3 billion of investment to help our customers reach their energy goals. And as far as our plan, it's about $100 million higher than it was on a comparable basis last year. A lot of that you could see is in that last year in 2029, going up to $900 million. That's really the Stewart Uniondale hub and the Propel project, where the major spending will be before they go into service in 2030. So that's the big differentiator there. And the rest of the components that we've spoken about in terms of the investment on the hydro generation side, the investments in the enterprise, whether it be the building or our IT infrastructure, including the new ERP system that we call Illuminate, the major initiatives for those enterprise investments and the transmission projects as well. Next. As far as what's new, so to putting things into context, 94% of the capital plan is not new. These are projects you've already approved in the past, and we're seeing those make it through its construction and completion. The 6% that is new is listed on the left-hand side, which is additional transmission development, a critical spares program where we're going to go out and buy spare components for transmission, so that many of these are long lead items where if we did have a breakage or breakdown, we could be out of service for extended period of time given supply chain constraints. So to get ahead of that, we want to make sure that we have spares available so we don't have that issue should we have any kind of disruptions or unplanned outages. Clark Energy Center improvements, additional improvements in the small hydro facilities, our AI advanced analytics program, and our Communications Connect system. So those are the things that are new this year that you haven't seen, and we'll provide detailed write-ups on each one of those particular initiatives. But in a grand scheme of things, it's 6% of the capital plan. As far as the consolidated net income, I'll point out a couple things here. So at the light blue row on the bottom, that is what we said last year, 26, 27, and 28 would look like. So what we're showing you is this year, that level has been raised by an average $40 million per year. Again, translating that into additional capital capacity, about $600 million. If anything, that might be adjusted slightly higher by the time we're all said and done. But again, this is sort of where we are right now. The other piece to identify here is the yellow line, which is our EBITDA. And EBITDA is an earnings before interest, depreciation, amortization, but really is a proxy for free cash flow. And that free cash flow, together with our debt, is basically what pays for the capital plan. And you'll see that flow through when we show you how exactly we pay for the $3.5 billion of capital. And then the other piece to point out, let's see here. Yeah, we also have the Canal's grant proceeds that are making its way through the financials. That's the money we're getting from the state. So just to put the net income into context, if we go back to 2020, you recall that was a COVID year. We had a loss that year, $17 million. I recall at that time, it was my first full year. Chairman said, we used to make money before you came here. So we've been, that's stuck in our heads, and we've been trying to make up for it ever since. We're starting to make some headway there, but again, you can see we've gone, up significantly, and it's not just about a one-year blip. It's about creating a recurring, stable, plannable stream of revenue that we can use to monetize and create capital for our investments in our strategy. Next. And this is basically sources of uses and uses, basically what I just said, just taking that free cash flow together with planned financings and paying for debt service and capital expenditures. And as you see, as it goes through, we still have a little bit of a gap at the end, $124 million. We'll work to close that gap. What that means is it's eating into available cash or reserves. As long as that we have to maintain our credit metrics. So as long as we're not going below our days cash on hand, 200 days cash on hand metric, or our debt to equity ratios, or things like fixed charge coverage ratio, debt service coverage ratios, those are the guide rails that we need to stay within to maintain our credit rating. Next. On the O&M budget, this is something we watch very carefully. This, ultimately translates into rates from our cost of service customers, and they look at it as closely as we do. So we need to be very diligent in maintaining, holding a line on expenses and being accountable. So what this is what we said last year would be this year's O&M going into 2026, which was at $840 million. This year, we're saying that's $862 million, or increase of 2.6%. And some of that is driven by some higher costs on payroll and benefits, whether it be health insurance or pension contribution, whether or not the pace of hiring has been accelerated versus what was planned, those factors relating to that, but still not significant increase overall. And then there's been some reductions in expense that was planned mainly around the Evolve program, again, being able to get some of that federal money and others that reduced some of the O&M expenses planned there. You'll hear more about nuclear, of course, but this is just high level sort of where we are. We issued an RFI last week and expect those responses back on December 11th. So we'll have a lot of more information at that time, and obviously be coming back and having further discussions. As far as the plan goes, we've allocated $20 million, both for internal, external resources to help set up some of the preliminary planning and things that we must do to position ourselves to go the next steps, as well as the $40 million over the plan that I mentioned earlier for workforce development. So focus on energy affordability. Obviously, that is on everyone's mind today. You just have to watch the TV of the races in some of the different states, New Jersey, Virginia, others. Cost of energy is really in everybody's mind, and I think it's important that we really lay out and demonstrate what NYPA is able to do on that front, being the low-cost provider and making energy affordable for all of our customers and the public at large. But again, let's put this into context. Since 2020, looking back over the last 5 years, our customers have saved $3.2 billion in energy costs they would have otherwise have paid had they been using IOUs and going through the regular system. That is a significant amount of money to be saved. And it cuts across all customer groups. Our preference rate customers, as you know, saved 66% off of what they would be paying in the market. Our economic development customers saved 30% over what they would pay in the market, or almost $800 million over that time. And our governmental customers, while the percentage isn't as great as the others, it's $1.9 billion of savings they've been able to realize since the last 5 years. So this is really a significant achievement to be able to provide the lowest cost to our customers and be able to, either drive the creation of jobs and investment in New York, keep taxes or fares down for our related customers, and provide, the lowest cost possible to those preference rate customers that they are required to have by statute. Again, on the transmission side, the same can be said, if not more. The priority projects that we win, as I mentioned, we win those because we are the lowest cost provider. And those projects themselves, we always have to emphasize this because it does get lost. When you hear about we're going to spend $1 billion on this transmission project, $1 billion on that transmission project, what comes to mind is, well, okay, somebody's got to pay for that. That's going to hit the ratepayer. Is that really a good idea or not? These investments, these projects actually save the ratepayers money in multiples. So if you look at by relieving congestion, mainly, because if you didn't do that, there would be these congestion charges that they would all have to pay, which would make it very expensive to move power from the north part of the state to the south part of the state. And but in this particular case, if you look at the 3 priority projects we've undertaken of $2.8 billion total investment, that'll result in $18.6 billion of savings over the next 20 years. So that is truly a real good investment where the ultimate winner is the ratepayer. As I mentioned before, our lower weighted average cost of capital, again, contributes to that overall customer affordability being lower than all of the others, which is really the result of not only having a lower ROE, even with our increase, but the fact that we're tax exempt. We don't gross up our return on equity or weighted average cost of capital as the others do. They get to recover the taxes they pay as a pass-through cost. So even if we were at the same number as our competitors, we would still be cheaper because we're not recovering taxes. Being a tax exempt issuer at a AA+ rating, obviously we are issuing our debt, and our debt costs are much lower than any of our other transmission owner competitors in New York. Again, our customer solutions, again, providing savings to all of our customers, just even in their annual cost of O&M, $7 million with $139 million invested. Somewhat related in terms of not only affordability, but also economic development in terms of our mission, creating jobs. When we do see higher prices, as you've seen this year, in certain regions, whether it be Northern New York, Western New York, when we receive revenues above a tariff rate, those additional revenues from higher prices, we collect those revenues and we put them into an economic development fund. So in those regions, they can reinvest into economic development, whether it be Northern New York or Western New York. And today we have almost $100 million available for economic development. And over the course of this plan, we project there'll be another 135 million for economic development. So all told, 200 million for economic development in these regions. For Evolve, we spoke about the NEVI funds we're getting from the federal government. We use those funds to reduce our costs, but allows us to keep the rates we charge users of our charging systems for electric vehicles lower than all the other providers. So we are the lowest cost provider when it comes to charging by 15% to where the market is. Earlier this year, we spoke about the prepay, where we issued through a newly created entity at the Empire State Development Corporation. It's called New York Energy Finance Holdings, Inc. We were able to issue $955 million of prepay bonds. And the result of that, we locked in 10% savings for our customers for their renewable PPAs, for their solar projects and others. As they put into this vehicle, they can save 10%. New York City is going to be the first that is going to get the benefit of that. We have 50 projects of rooftop solar at schools and other locations in the city. They will be putting their PPAs into this and receiving a 10% reduction in the price that they pay for renewables. And happy to announce that we just heard last week that this particular financing and project was awarded Deal of the Year by the bond buyer. So this is the second time for NYPA that we've been able to win Deal of the Year. We won it back in 2020 when we did the massive restructuring coming out of COVID. So we're very happy that this project has been recognized for its innovation and its benefit to ultimate consumers by reducing costs and making them affordable. We still maintain agriculture discount for agricultural customers. That will be $5 million a year. And the REACH program, as we talked about, as part of renewables, we will be providing bill credits to low, moderate income households throughout the state based on our renewable projects. Our plan is that once we implement the projects we have in the pipeline, we would be able to increase by $15 million a year the amount of money that will go into REACH. Any questions on any of that so far?
Why don't you keep rolling here, Adam? We're running a little bit tight, so why don't you keep rolling and we can open it up for questions at the end. Hit those last few slides quickly if you can. Thanks.
Yep. Yeah, so this is just the subsidiary with the plan for the Renewables Holding Corp, NIRED. We treat that separately as a separate entity. As you're aware that we had the initial strategic plan. We've had the update in the plan, which will be approved later this year. As mentioned, receiving $200 million from the state, as well as all the safe harboring we're doing for the tax credits. And we're also in the process of developing our first project under the Governor's State of the State initiative for public power for public entities to do a 100 megawatt project together with OGS. And that is starting to move forward. Next. And this is just a capital plan of NIRED based on what is committed to today, $1.2 billion of investments. Of that, $260 million going to the REACH programs, others for utility scale. Next. And the net income, you can see that there's a loss in the early years because we're spending money for operations expenses before we receive revenues. But as you can see towards the end of the plan, it starts generating net income of almost $20 million. Important note there is that any money we make from the renewable projects stays in the renewable subsidiary to be invested into more renewable projects. So the more we're able to make those projects work, the more projects we can build. And the sources and uses of NIRED, just as we showed for NYPA, the financing, tax credits, the intercompany loan from NYPA, as well as partners, all that is part of the projects. So with that, I'll conclude and again, take any questions.
great presentation, very thorough as always, and most importantly, great content. And kudos to you and the team for bringing forward such a strong and very positive plan, Adam. Yeah, you've heard me over the years. Kudos for a more than strong bounce back, and most importantly, consistent bounce back from the start of your tenure, as duly noted back on slide 11. That trend line is very, very strong. Most notably, as it dovetails with slide 12, pop that back up there on sources and uses, because that's what it's all about. It's impossible to talk about the income we're generating without creating the context for what those monies are being deployed to support and substantiate. So the next slide, slide 12. Slide 12 is on the bottom of right here. Slide 12. Is that slide 12? I got slide 11 and slide 12. Yeah.
It's different on ours.
Oh, it is. Well, the next one, sources and uses. Yeah. Yeah. Well documents what we need to do. So kudos to you and your team for ensuring what we're able to deliver and how we're able to do it. Obviously, the rest of the organization's making good things happen. You're ensuring that what does happen appropriately aligns and supports the needs and charge that we increasingly have. And the affordability piece, current politics aside, incredibly compelling story to very well document the impact and benefits we're having for all of our customers. To me, that's the ultimate shareholder dividends. Obviously, our shareholders are all of us across the state of New York, residential, commercial, and otherwise, and the kind of savings that we're generating, and more importantly, we'll be able to generate going forward is incredibly compelling. So very, very well done. All of that said, is there anything that didn't make the cut in the plan? Is there anything where the organization, and maybe this is a better question for Justin as well, that isn't in the plan or is in the plan in a compromised way that you debated and struggled with? Or are you guys comfortable this appropriately addresses all that we need and you deem relevant for the next 3 to 4 years?
Yeah, maybe I'll take a stab at that, Adam. I mean, I think the answer is yes. This includes everything as we sit here today. But as you know, we're in a very dynamic market and at a very dynamic time in the energy industry, and given the outsized role that we've played and that we're being asked to play in the future, you know, as Adam showed, there's always going to be some change between each year of these 4-year plans, but we think this presents an accurate and detailed picture of where we sit today and what the future what the next 4 years look like to us as of this moment in time, understanding that we're in an environment of rapid change.
And you're comfortable we'll be able to flex and respond to change. Justin, I realize we don't know what's ultimately to be asked, but as we've proven in the past, you're comfortable that we will retain the needed and necessary flexibility to be responsive?
I do, and I think you hit it on the head there. I mean, our history shows that we are able to flex to meet these challenges. So we're well positioned to do that today.
Okay, team, board, go around the horn here. Louis, thoughts, comments, questions?
John, thanks. Adam and team, this is an incredibly impressive and thorough 4-year plan and exercise. A governance question: do you provide when this plan is filed with the state? I assume the comptroller's office and other agencies. Do you also share the commentary, sources, uses of funds, the affordability piece? Are you also sharing the back pieces? Because I think that is what makes this a compelling and transparent and thorough plan. So I'm just curious about that, Adam.
Yeah, so we provide a whole book. It's about a 30, 40 page book that has lots of narrative around the plan in terms of, you know, and beyond the plan in terms of what's going on at NIPA. Kind of looks a little bit like our MD&A, if you will, but it's it does highlight many of these issues. And, we do provide sources and uses and other things to the Authority Budget Office and other areas. So we do as much as we can to create that narrative in the book that we actually submit.
Great work. Thank you.
Dennis, thoughts?
No, great work, Adam and team. Seems like, John, you covered most of the questions that I had or anybody might have. Thank you very much. Thanks, Adam.
Appreciate that. B?
Two thoughts, as I was listening to Adam, and a lot here to learn, and I'm always super impressed with the detail that you provide us, but two things popped into my head. One was, as we grow our external resources, right? What impact is that on staffing and the way that we respond to those grants, especially the federal, because I know that's, super complicated and time consuming. And then the other is, when we talk about savings to our customers, do our customers tell that story as well, or are we the only ones telling that story?
No, those are good questions. As far as the grants go, certain grants do require resources to implement either the programs or do all the compliance related to it. When we do receive any kind of grant money from the federal government, we are required to do a Single Audit Act and do other filings and compliance. So there is, no free lunch, right? There is a requirement of accountability when you do receive those funds. But really, it's the majority of that is really just us being able to supplant, federal money for money that would either come out of ratepayers' pockets, NIPA's pockets, state pockets. So it's really about getting our fair share of what's at the federal level. And if we don't get it, somebody else will. So that's what to the extent it's there, we're going to take it. It may not always be there, and we've lost some. Last year, we had a $43 million grant related to the Propel project. When the administration changed, that was gone the next day. So, you win some, you lose some. But I would say in our case, being that we weren't overly reliant on it, and also we make sure that if we were to lose it, it's not going to put us at a high risk situation either. So it's all gravy from my standpoint. But you got to stay competitive with it. You got to be compliant and use it wisely. To your point about the customers, I think, I would say yes and no. Give you an example. So R&Y, our Recharge New York program, there's a component there that represents the NIPA portion of their energy. And then there's a portion that represents a market portion. And when they see their overall bill going up, it would appear that, the NIPA costs are going up. So what we did this year, we did a project called the R&Y Unbundling, which means that we are providing in our bills a breakdown of the components of their costs, which clearly show that the NIPA portion has stayed flat, even if other pieces are going up that are out of our control. So it's making it more clear that NIPA is the anchor there that's providing that cost benefit. But yes, I think it's an important message we need to continue to get out. But our customers, we review this with them on a regular basis, and they're quite aware of how much they're saving by being with NIPA. And this is going to become a critical issue as our LTA is up for renewal in 2027. So it's very important that we make that case.
Thank you.
Laurie, thoughts?
Thank you. Thank you, John. And thank you, Adam, and the whole team. I felt like I had, a whole glossary of acronyms that I knew, but EBITDA is a new one. What does it stand for again? Can you repeat that?
So it's called earnings before interest, depreciation, and amortization. In the corporate world, they call it EBITDA because there's a T for taxes. We don't have that, so we drop it. But what it really is you take your net income, you add back certain non-cash items, like in our case, the biggest one being depreciation. So you add that in because it's an expense that's not necessarily an outlay of hard cash, but it gives you an idea of how much cash the business is generating. It's a non-GAAP measure, so it's not according to the accountants, right, how they keep score, but it is a measure, but that's used on measuring how much of, you can finance and capital affordability and capacity.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. Couple more points quickly. The the capital spare program for parts, very clever. Thank you for doing that. Would love just to keep updates on how that's going. Second, with the affordability slide 17 through 20, again, just elevating how tremendously helpful that is and really painting the picture of, the need to alleviate the congestion, what that results in and how important that is. Just the transmission piece alone, our costs in comparison to others in the industry. I tried to get on to the NYPA website, but was having trouble. I would just recommend if there's a way to isolate the affordability piece alone just on the website, that could be shared, with groups all across the state. The country is really kind of leading by example there and very helpful because energy affordability is so top of mind. So just wanted to highlight that and kind of finish with REACH. We've always known how important that program is going to be. I think now more than ever, just buttressing those state programs and seeing again us getting closer and closer to the REACH program taking off. Just really wanted to elevate the importance of those bill credits that will come in the future. And so again, just thank you for the presentation today. And those are just some of my thoughts and recommendations.
Thanks, Laura. Appreciate that. Cecily.
It's nice to get to go last because everybody covered everything, especially the EBITDA. That was on my question too, Laurie. But what a great presentation. I know behind the scenes, this has got to take a lot of hours to put together, but it was very well done. And as a non-finance person, I understood most of it and could figure out the parts I didn't understand by the presentation. Kudos to everybody. This is great.
Thanks, Cecily. And literally is last. Michael, last but not least, thoughts, comments, perspectives from Staten Island?
Thank you, John. Yeah, well, Staten Island, I'm used to going last, but I want to just thank, again, I want to, I see
We're
people
featured
laughing.
prominently on the election
That
coverage.
funny. Wasn't meant to be that funny, but I just wanted to say, I was thinking, sitting here listening to this great presentation, I've been conditioned over 20 years in the legislature in all ways and means to brace myself for bad news and pessimistic messages. And this was so optimistic and brightening that, Adam, I want to thank you and the team because it is a pleasure to hear this. And I have some questions that are in the weeds that I'll ask offline in a matter of time here. So thank you again, team, for putting this together. It's very informative for us on the trustee board.
Yep.
Okay, appreciate that.
No,
Michael.
thank you. And
Everyone.
yeah, I just wanted to again thank our team. Yep.
No, I'm only kidding. Go ahead. Only tease.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank our team, the finance team, but also the rest of the organization. It's a team effort throughout the organization. Everybody, has become aware of the challenges and what all this means to our strategy. So it's it's all hands. And A, it's a presentation, but B, it's really all the things that are in it that make it happen, right? Those are all activities. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to make something happen. Somebody's got to execute. It's really what's behind that. And I would just then really put a thank you out to the chairman because a lot of this is really a result of his input and feedback, not only this year, other years about, we tend to get lost in the numbers and the weeds, and he's kept us focused on this idea of, making it in context relatable what does it mean to the, to the public, to the customer. So I do appreciate the guidance that we've received there.
Well, that's very kind, Adam, and I can only reinforce that and echo what you've heard. These are much more than numbers. This is who we are and what we're about, and this reflects the values and principles of the organization and the great work you guys do every day. So how you deliver great results and outcomes and the impacts they have is very, very compelling, and I appreciate the kind remarks and more importantly, the great work. So we'll move on recommending that to full board for consideration at the completion of Adam's and Donna's presentation. So with that, let's quickly pivot. Got a couple of releases for Canal Corp and power proceeds. Adam, you want to pick that up?
Sure. Yeah. Now on to the exciting stuff. Now, this is our regular release. We're going to do ahead of the Q1 2026 for the first quarter based on today's preliminary budget for the canals at $29.4 million. And then the release of the Western New York power proceeds, $35 million based on various approvals that have been received, allowing that money to be released and then spent on particular programs that have been approved. So request is for a recommendation from the trustees.
As Adam said, these are customary, as you saw in your materials, regular quarterly and annual for the proceeds. Unless if anyone has any questions, put your hand up. Otherwise, as I said, we'll pick up a motion and wrap this into it after the next presentation. We good? Great. Donna, welcome to NYPA. I think this is your first official time in front of us, so we're pleased to have you. Welcome to the team. And as Adam referenced earlier in his presentation, we have what appears to be potentially very positive development relative to the Hudson Transmission Project, or HTP as it's affectionately known. So the podium is yours.
Thank you for the warm welcome. Yes, we are requesting a recommendation to approve us to negotiate and execute a transmission resale capacity agreement. We had issued an RFP to be able to source emissions-free renewable resources to get into New York. The Hudson Transmission Project is a transmission line that carries power from PJM in New Jersey into New York City, specifically NISO Zone J. The agreement would be for a term of up to 7 years. I'm happy to take any questions that anyone may have on this. No questions.
You're muted.
Sorry. Can you give us a little context, Donna? It's in our materials, but I'm sure the public has some, perspective on how you were able to create this opportunity or how it came to us.
Sure. So we have our interest in the Hudson transmission line, again, that brings power from New Jersey to New York. We had issued an RFP last year to be able to source renewable resources to get those into New York. We did receive several proposals, which we have evaluated thoroughly. This gives us an opportunity to potentially source both renewables and emission-free resources to get those into the city, while also benefiting us from the value of our investment in HTP. This transaction accomplishes both of those goals, and we are looking to move forward with this and execute that agreement over the next several weeks.
In terms of several proposals, HTC distinguished themselves in a way that clearly differentiated versus other proposals?
That's right. The committee evaluated several proposals, some of which were not directly responsive in terms of hitting that target of trying to get those emissions-free resources into New York City, whereas this proposal does and provides us a great deal of flexibility to continue to pursue opportunities to support reliability in New York City as well at the same time.
Okay, questions from others around the board table? Thoughts, comments, very positive development for the city, supporting energy needs for us in terms of business and financial impact. Very positive development. Great to see, great to hear. Anything else from others? Thoughts?
Donna,
If not-
I was just going to say, I appreciate the thoughtfulness and thoroughness that you and your team went about this. Good luck on the next steps here. I know from reading the materials that you have a process, a timeline to be able to negotiate this agreement. So good luck. As the chairman just commented, this is all positive to deliver high quality clean energy right into that Con Ed substation in Midtown Manhattan. So positive, and let us know how we can be helpful as you move forward.
Thank you. And I should mention, I neglected to mention at the outset, this obviously also provides, I mentioned that it supports the economic value for NYPA in HTP, and that's through a combination of a base fee that Adam referenced earlier in his presentation, as well as a share of revenues going forward. So again, in combination with the emissions-free resources, this was the best option.
All right, unless there's any other questions for Donna, I'd ask for a motion to cover the four items that Adam and Donna have just reviewed with us. One, the submission of the proposed budget. Two, the release of Canal, as well as West New York Power proceeds, and the authorization to negotiate and execute the transmission capacity resale agreement that Donna just recapped. If I could have a motion that would bundle all four of those, I'd appreciate it. Please.
So moved.
Lewis, hand up. Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thanks, Cecily. Any other questions? Otherwise, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Opposed? Motion carried. Getting an echo. Listening to me once is more than enough. Okay. Thanks, Donna. Again, welcome aboard. Your first recommendation's been approved, so you're off to a good start. Well done. All right, a couple more action items, pivoting to the app side of the house, Tim Poe, and a contract award for Niagara.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, trustees, colleagues, members of the public. I'm Timothy Poe, Vice President of Project and Construction Management on our utility ops project delivery side of the house. I'm here today to present a contract award for the Robert Moses Stator Replacement Contract, which is part of the Next Generation Niagara program, specifically the Mechanical Electrical Upgrades Project. We are requesting that the Finance Committee recommend approval of a 10-year contract award to Andritz Hydro of Charlotte, North Carolina, in the amount of $72.1 million to the Board of Trustees. In addition to this base contract award, we're requesting that the Finance Committee recommend an approval of additional $30.1 million for a total contract authorization of $102.2 million. This additional funding is intended to cover anticipated base cost escalation over those 10 years and to address potential supply chain risks, execution delays, schedule adjustments due to NGN outage coordination, and lessons learned we had on the first Unit 6 overhaul with the stator sole plates. The scope included under this contract is for the design, manufacturing, shipment, and field assembly of 5 new hydroelectric stators. This is replacing 5 of the 14 stators at Robert Moses. The first stator is targeted for delivery and completion by Q3 2028, and the remaining 4 between 2029 and 2033. The proposed spending is in alignment with the original NGM program and program budget of 1.1 billion, which was approved by the board at their July 2019 meeting and is included in the long-range plan. A request for proposals was issued last December, with 3 complete or responsive proposals being received in March. Following an extensive evaluation process based on the criteria on the slide, the evaluation committee recommends a contract award to Andritz in the amount of 72.1 million for a 10-year term and a full authorization of 102.2 million. Thank you, and I'll take any questions.
Have we worked with Andritz before, Tim?
Yes, Andritz was actually the motor generator contractor on our LPGP LEM program up in Niagara.
So we've had positive experience with them.
I think we've had very positive in my tenure. The last 10 years, I believe that program early on, like any major contract, any major procurements, had some lessons learned. But since then, everything has been positive.
Okay. Any questions for Tim? Well, it's $100 million over 10 years. Always deferential to the good work that the team has done to evaluate and vet the options and alternatives. In this case, we've got a historic working relationship, all the better. Any other thoughts there? If not, I'd ask for a motion to recommend this item to the full board for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Dennis. Second, Cecily. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, thanks, Timothy. Sorry. I said Tim, you said Timothy. So thanks very much, Timothy. All right. Sandra. Won't call you Sandy, call you Sandra. So Sandra, great to have you back. Great to always talk workforce development. Great to talk about releasing funds to further support investment in those programs. So take it away.
Great, thank you. Good morning, Chairman, trustees, NYPA colleagues, and the public. I'm really excited to be here today to provide you with some updates from the programs funded in year 1, as well as request $4 million in funding in response to our first application cycle of this year's request for application. First, just a quick update on the website. Workforce development can now be found on the home page under who we are. Very exciting. Currently on that page, I see you clapping, Trustee Gonzalez. NYPA, currently on the page, you can find the RFA information, you can find an FAQ, as well as previous awardees. And I'm really working closely with Charles and Lindsay's team to create an engaging workforce landing page. We actually have a meeting on Friday to discuss some new page ideas, so more to come on that. Many of the programs just completed their 6 months of their 2-year programs. So I've been busy going to kickoffs, attending graduations, and I'm really pleased with the progress and results thus far. To date, just over 1,700 students have completed or are currently active in a training course. Of these students, just over 65% of the students come from disadvantaged communities. And from the last report, 689 are incumbent workers or apprentices who have been upskilled and certified in clean energy credentials, and 678 have been placed in full-time employment and paid internships. The placement numbers will continue to grow as the students are finishing up their coursework or looking for employment. But I wanted to highlight 2 of the providers that have some really great success stories. The first is United Way of Long Island. Since the start of their grant cycle, they've trained 37 individuals through their Power Up Green Construction and Energy Efficiency Training Program. To date, 21 of the 37 participants have secured employment with an average starting wage of $30 per hour at companies offering benefits and growth opportunities. So that program operates on a rolling schedule. So as they update it, the cohorts will finish and they'll update their workforce numbers. But there's a success story for one of the students that reflects the program's success. QC Wilson, from unemployment to a promising career in electrical work. QC enrolled in the Power Up Green Construction and Energy Efficiency Program while unemployed and eager to build a new career. From the start, QC demonstrated exceptional drive and determination, actively participating in class and taking full advantage of all the available resources. After completing the program, QC has secured full-time employment with DNB Electric and is working on the project for the new Rolex building in Midtown Manhattan. He now earns $36 an hour as an electrical technician, assisting with wiring, energy systems, alarm systems, and other on-site installations. The next story is we funded a pre-apprenticeship program from LIUNA, and this is from a student evaluation form from Jose Rivera, and this is from the Hudson Valley cohort. The pre-apprenticeship program for becoming a laborer with Local 17 was one of the most valuable experiences of my life, and it truly set the foundation for my career and future. During the program, I not only gained hands-on skills and knowledge about the trade, but I also built the confidence and discipline needed to succeed in such a demanding field. A huge part of my success in the program was thanks to my teacher, TJ Smith, who went above and beyond to guide and support me every step of the way. He had helped with tasks and making them easier to understand, and he always made sure that everyone in class felt included and capable of achieving their goals. TJ pushed us to work hard, stay focused, and believe in ourselves. But he also showed patience and genuine care for our growth. Through his teaching, I learned not just about the physical skills required to be a laborer, but also about teamwork, responsibility, and professionalism, qualities that will stay with me for life. Without TJ's dedication and encouragement, I wouldn't have realized the opportunities that this career path could provide. And I'm truly grateful that he gave me the chance to build a strong future for myself. Thanks to this program and his guidance, I now feel prepared for a rewarding career and a better life ahead. Jose is now employed as an apprentice at Patillo, New York, and he's earning $29.50 an hour with full benefits. His pre-apprenticeship program of 157 hours counts towards 400 required hours for related technical instruction for his apprenticeship. So not only did Jose earn a stipend while he was in the pre-apprenticeship program, he was hired as an apprentice, and his pre-apprenticeship training significantly reduces the amount of time he needs to complete his apprenticeship. For this Hudson Valley cohort, there were 10 students in the program, and all 10 students are now employed as apprentices. At one of the graduations, one thing that just stuck with me is one of the students wanted to speak out of the program, and he stood up and he said, we didn't just learn how to build, we built something together. So the sense of community among the cohorts that I've seen is amazing and incredible, and it truly helps them not only get through the class, but to build those essential skills necessary for the workforce. So at this time, I'm going to pivot to the proposed awards for approval. The first application cycle for the RFA opened on August 15th and closed on September 15th of this year. We received a really robust response of a total of 25 applications. The evaluation committee consisted of a NYPA representative from environmental justice, corporate strategy, economic development, community and government affairs, and workforce development. Applications were evaluated on their proposed scope of work, training schedule, their budget, their organizational profile and key resumes, as well as their focus on DAC priority populations, job placement, and MWBE utilization. Of the 25 applicants, 4 entities were organizations that had received funding in year 1. We're still considering their applications, but holding them until the next round because we want to continue to evaluate and monitor their current programs. 2 of the applications did not meet the requirements in relation to the proposed scope of work. I'm presenting 6 programs today, and the remaining 13 applicants, the evaluation committee, we've scheduled interviews with them. They have begun, and we're discussing their budget and scope of work. And if they're deemed qualified or need revisions, we'll consider them in one of the next cycles. So we're really excited about these programs that I'm bringing forward today because they're diversifying not only the geography from year 1, but also the occupations funded as well. So today I'm requesting a total award amount of $4 million for 6 projects. The first, an award amount of $203,000 is requested for Binghamton University. The Thomas J. Watson College of Engineering and Applied Science Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering's program aims to address the urgent demand throughout New York State for engineers skilled in power system dynamics. Many sector partners, including NYPA, have expressed concern over the shortfall of power systems engineers. At National Grid, power systems engineers have been identified as the top growth position over the next 3 to 5 years, with a need for over 300 in that time. NYPA's overall need for power systems engineers is estimated to be about 30 over the next 3 to 5 years. So this funding will support the development and instruction of 2 new courses, Systems Dynamics and Simulation, and Fundamentals of Power Systems. The initial 2 cohorts will train 25 undergraduate and graduate students. The program also includes stipends for 5 6-month paid internships. And for the 2 initial cohorts, students will be selected through academic advising with an emphasis on students from disadvantaged communities. The students will be equipped with applied simulation skills in PSSE, which is Power Systems Simulator for Engineering, and EMTP, Electromagnetic Transients Program. The program will produce a workforce capable of supporting the integration of renewable energy, energy storage deployment, and transmission upgrades. The second, an award in the amount of $677,000 is requested for Genesee Valley BOCES. The Genesee Valley BOCES serves 22 component school districts across Genesee, Livingston, Steuben, and Wyoming counties. Currently, Genesee, Livingston, and Wyoming counties represent 3 of the 4 counties with the largest megawatt solar projects in the state. The funds will support the development and implementation of the electromechanical trades program at the May Center in Mount Morris and expansion of the current program at the Batavia campus. The electromechanical trades program provides both foundational and advanced instruction with focus areas including building automation, EV charging station installation, energy storage and management, HVAC systems, large-scale land-based renewable energy generation, smart grid technology, and drone-based inspections. The funds will support the training of 60 students, and the program includes internships, co-op placements, and wraparound supports to remove barriers to student success. Next, an award in the amount of $644,000 is requested for Stony Brook University. The funds will support their Workforce Development Power Pathways Workforce Readiness Program. The program will train 200 individuals from disadvantaged communities and/or priority populations from Brentwood and Patchogue Medford, Suffolk County Community College, and Eastern and Western Suffolk BOCES in both trades-based and advanced technology disciplines. The program will provide certification and training in the areas of solar, drone inspections, geothermal, heat pumps, and HVDC power systems. Additionally, as part of this program, 15 CTE teachers will be upskilled in distributed energy resources, and upon completion, teachers will be equipped to teach this material in the respective CTE classes. Next, an award in the amount of $734,000 is requested for the Green Launchpad. The Green Launchpad is a pending MWBE founded in 2024, dedicated to building an inclusive green economy. The proposed project will be in partnership with Henry Street Settlement, New Women New Yorker, and the Energy Economic Development Corporation. The funds will support the Clean Energy Career Connect program, and it will serve 90 participants, at least 95% of whom will be recruited from disadvantaged communities and priority populations. Participants will complete the Green Professional Training Fundamental Certification, a Clean Energy Career Series highlighting tracks in energy auditing, project coordination, and energy incentive administration, followed by advanced technical instruction and a hands-on capstone lab, providing participants with specialized skills. The program also includes intensive career services, including one-on-one coaching, job search assistance, resume development, and interview preparation. An award in the amount of $911,000 is requested for the Healthy Home Academy. The Healthy Home Academy is located in Brewster, New York, and has been teaching students in the science of eco-building since 2021. In partnership with Sustainable Westchester, the funds will support the training of 130 students, all from DAC communities, in home performance and high-efficiency HVAC and heat pumps. Training will be a combination of classroom, lab, and field training, and the program will also include supportive services such as transportation, food stipends, resume and cover letter support, and one-on-one mentorship sessions with industry professionals. And the last, an award in the amount of $832,000 is requested for the University of Buffalo. The University of Buffalo has a strong research expertise in AI and data science, and the funds will support the establishment of the UB NIPA Center for AI Research and Exploration to bridge the skills gap and leverage AI technologies to address key challenges in the power industry. 6 renewable energy-focused projects have been identified, and 6 graduate students will be recruited for a 12-month paid internship. The students will be responsible for researching, designing, implementing, and evaluating the solutions under the guidance of the UB faculty. The students will also collaborate with NIPA, more specifically Ron Carroll's group, to design and develop the related technologies and their integration for testing and evaluation. By forming this collaborative partnership, NIPA and UB aim to create an ecosystem for AI development that will drive innovation, support NIPA's strategic goals, and deliver transformative solutions for the energy sector. The program will position NIPA as a leader in AI-driven solutions for the state and the energy sector. Additionally, UB is a consortium member of Empire AI. This will expand UB and Empire AI's expertise into the energy sector. It will establish a pipeline of skilled professionals who can contribute to NIPA's ongoing and future projects, as well as support clean energy AI efforts throughout the state. NIPA does anticipate that we'll be able to hire 1 to 2 of these students upon completion of the internship. So in the September board meeting, board approved $12 million for 2 DOL initiatives. If this $4 million is approved, we'll be at a total of $16 million for year 2, with 2 additional application cycles left. One is currently open for November, and there will be another one open in January. Thank you. I'll take any questions at this time. I know that was a lot.
Yeah, thanks very much, Sandra. You're right, it was a lot, and you delivered it well. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's there's always some irony. We relatively quickly approve $100 million for hard goods and materials and construction. This is $4 million bucks, but we're changing lives here. This is having a real impact on lives of participants. So this is really, really important and compelling work. So appreciate your time and commitment and energy to vet this. I'm thrilled to hear that the other 19 that aren't being funded now, 4 of them had been previously funded. You're going to further evaluate. The others are still in the hopper and working for them, because if there's an opportunity for us to stretch the envelope for any funding area, this is one we want to continue to lean into. So yeah, let's keep working and cultivating opportunities to do that. Thoughts, comments from anyone relative to what Sandra presented before I ask for a motion to recommend this item for approval?
I'll just add, John, that was, great results, great benefits, and great programs that you're asking us to approve. So it's really good work.
Thank you.
Yes, and I'll just add that I love to see the range and the diversity of the organizations that we're working with, and I'm glad to see SUNY in there. So, we're working across the entire educational spectrum almost, it seems. So much appreciated,
Yes.
and thank you for the website. Thank you for the
Absolutely. I'll let you know when the new landing page is up.
Check that box, Sandra. Well done. Anyone else with
Thank
some feedback? I said we're ending our presentations on a real high here. All right, if not, I'd ask for a motion to recommend this item to full board next month for adoption.
So moved.
Dennis, B, first and second. I'll let Karen sort that out. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. That's our last
Thank you.
action item, or agenda discussion item rather. What remains consent agenda, which is approval of our meetings from our September minutes from our September meeting. Apologies. If I could ask for a motion to adopt that agenda, unless there's any other questions thereon.
So moved.
Thanks, Dennis. Second.
Second.
B, thank you for covering that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Unless there is anything else to come, I'm pleased to bring this meeting to a close. I would thank everyone, Adam, Teen, Timothy, Sandra, and others for great presentations and some terrific work. Our next meeting is next year already. A little hard to say that, 2026. It's only whatever it is, 75, 80 days around the corner. So it'll be the end of January. We're back together as a finance committee, as you've heard referenced multiple times. We will have a full board meeting next month. I think it's the 9th or 10th of December. So with all of that, if I can have a motion to close the meeting.
Here, I'll move, but just a quick point of correction. I think B seconded the third to last motion and Laurie did. I'm sure that staff have it. I'm sure Karen has
Karen
it,
will
but I,
cover it. Yeah.
yeah, I
Thanks,
just wanted to
Cecily.
make sure it was corrected, but I'll move to close the meeting.
All right, thank you. And a second? Somebody will second that. Dennis, got it. Way to go. All right, all in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? All right, thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for those who have joined us. To the extent you did, have a wonderful and very happy Thanksgiving, and we look forward to seeing everyone again in December at our board meeting. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.